Admiral's Log, June 7th, 1911. Crew training has been at a low level since the start of the war, and it shows. We've had friendly fire incidents, ships resorting to ramming to effect the destruction of a warship, and crews responding too late to critical events. Thankfully, it seems that the British have somewhat slacked in their blockade. The status is not quite clear. We have, however, a bit more budget for crew training. Finally. Let's turn these cadets into hardened sailors. Just before the war, I christened one of our new battlecruisers, the Königsberg. These battlecruisers were designed as merchant raiders, but so far they've only had encounters with enemy battleships, from which they promptly had to disengage. Now, however, it is exactly the Königsberg and her sister ship, the König Wilhelm, that have found and engaged a convoy. The convoy must be carrying an exceedingly valuable cargo, as these 3 cargo ships are escorted by 6 destroyers. This means my precious battlecruisers are at risk of getting torpedoed. Fortunately, however, the British destroyers are not capable of carrying many torpedoes, it seems. This should give us an excellent chance at sinking some valuable cargo and over a third of the British destroyer group. Let's get to it. Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to episode 6. In this episode, as I mentioned in the Admiral's Log, we are going to get a chance to use those battlecruisers for something other than running away. We have an encounter with the Gala, the Munsey, the Nereid, the Nimrod, the Veteran and the Wake, and I have 1 destroyer but 2 battlecruisers, so I have a massive amount of displacement here against these light ships, but of course these are dangerous to battlecruisers. Let's fight it out. This is what I designed the battlecruisers for, raiding merchantmen. Coming up against 6 destroyers was not quite part of the plan, but well, we don't really have a choice. I want to have these boys scout out for the battlecruisers. So this allows them to... You know what, we're going to slow these guys down a touch. I'm going to go to 24 knots, which means I'm still way faster than the enemy fleet. Because these merchantmen can do 24, I think. And we're going to let the V3 do some scouting first. Because I am utterly uninterested in running headfirst into a bunch of destroyers. Now, oh, there we go. The König Wilhelm and sister ship Königsberg are armed with 9-inch guns. 4 of them. It's their main armament. Then we have a lot of 5-inch casemates and 5-inch turrets. And finally, a couple of 2-inchers to finish it off. This is a fantastic armament to use against destroyers. This is one of them. And there are the others. Let's see if this is the same class, because I know the British are working on some new destroyer designs. This is still the 2 torpedoes on the stern. Sadly, both of my battlecruisers are still cadets. Kind of as expected, not really as hoped. I would like to maintain about 6-kilometer range from these guys, because I know that they are very capable of throwing torpedoes my way. My turning circle is not terrible at 348, and at 24 knots it'll be even better. But I would still rather not risk it, because I did not build these things to withstand torpedoes. Now already these 5-inch guns are doing some work. Focus fire on this target, because it is coming in close. V3, I do not want you to get involved, not yet. We might need you in a minute. Königsberg is also engaging the other destroyer there. It's probably the 2-inchers. Come on. Starboard turn. Flooding. Very nice. So we found the Wake. She still has her torpedoes. The Gala has her torpedoes as well. Interesting. Oh shit, you're not doing so hot. Focus fire on the Gala. She's too close. She's 3 kilometers out. I need her dead. Gala just launched her torps. Hard to port. There's the torpedo. Did she throw those at the destroyer? Yes, she did. She targeted the V3. Okay, new target, the Wake. Because the Gala is essentially harmless. Save for a few guns. The Wake very much is not. There's the torpedoes. Targeting the destroyer. The V3 gets no love from the destroyers whatsoever. Now, get me some destroyer kills. These guys have an impressive amount of secondaries. Now, let's see them work. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I put the coincidence rangefinder on these to make sure that they switch targets faster at short range. They're not very good at long range gunnery. They don't get any bonuses for that. But they generally don't have to. Now, the Wake threw her torpedoes at the destroyer. The Mounsel is also aiming for the destroyer for some reason. Nimrod is aiming for the DD. The Veteran's aiming for the Battlecruiser with her torpedoes. And then Reed doesn't really seem to know what to target yet. Oh, these are fast torps. 42 knots. Yeah, I'm quite uninterested in getting hit by that. The Wake is taking a nice beating over there. Come on, buddy. Down you go. Oh no, the V3 is about to be killed off. Just gunfire. She didn't get hit by a torpedo. The Mounsey... Oh, sorry, Mounsey, not Mounsel. The Mounsey launched her torpedoes also at the V3. Turn. Could you finish this thing off? It's on 1%. Come on. New target, Nimrod. Nimrod still has her torpedoes. And I really don't like how close she's getting. But, nope, she's also targeting the V3. Okay, fine. I think the V3 is going to be dead. Pretty damn dead. But that's... What? You also threw your torps at the DD? Good lord, whatever did the V3 do to you? This destroyer is acting like some sort of magnet for these torpedoes. Which is good, because it means that I can essentially push the battlecruisers directly into the destroyers. The only ship that still has torpedoes is the Narrat0r. Everybody else is out of torpedoes. So we're going to fire up the battleships, sorry, the battlecruisers, and target the Narrat0r. And everybody who happens to get in the way is going to get hit. Finally, the Wake sinks, the Mounsey sinks due to extensive fire. Arguably, I should let one of these guys live. Because I still need to sink the transports. Oh, shit. What? You got penned? Wow. By a 4-inch gun? Right through the 3-inch aft belt. That is pretty terrible. Oh well. The normal chance to pen is 8% or so. But if it's broadside against a closer target, yeah, the bow and stern do become vulnerable. Oh well. There goes another one. Königsberg full ahead flank. Because I need to sink the transports. I need to cripple the economy. Normally, crippling the economy is not something that the British need help with. I mean, just look at Brexit. There, pissed off the British audience. Don't worry guys, just having some fun. But this time around, as I'm playing Germany, I need to make sure that the British do not have shipping capability. I wonder if, when we see a future version of the campaign, we're going to see, for example, U-boats, which are not only useful against surface ships, so let's say battleships, battlecruisers, and they're not going to be in-game as such, but they'll be on a strategic map, at least that's what I heard. It would be interesting to see those engage merchant shipping. So just sort of invest, if you will, in building a bunch of battleships, in building a bunch of U-boats, and thereby making your ability to sink the enemy transports better. Of course, at the expense of not having as much power projection. Because your shipyards are going to be working on building more U-boats. And the whole research tree is there. The tech tree has the stuff in it that hints at your ability to start building U-boats. Wow, this thing is very difficult to hit. There we go. This is why crew training is essential. Because an actual trained crew would have made very quick work of this destroyer, especially given all of these guns. Now, where are the transports at? Because I thought they were relatively west of our position. I could be mistaken. Fine. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep looking for the transports. And you are going to turn around and eliminate the veteran and the Nimrod. Focus the Nimrod first, because she's closest. And she's for some reason still racing towards the target. I'm not sure why. Because it seems like it's a great way to get your ship killed. Especially if you run into 9-inch guns. Speaking of, this is why I have secondaries. 837, main guns. Secondaries, 727. Sorry, these are the casemates. These are the secondaries. 1900 damage. And the 2-inch guns, 1200. So, the main guns were not actually that instrumental in dealing with the destroyers. Find me some transports, buddy. For all I know, I'm looking in the complete wrong side of the map for these transports. I got 0 armor. This is why I'm firing HE, for those of you wondering. Because everything is going to cause some sort of critical damage. Every hit. There's no way it's going to ricochet. I can get over pens, but that's about it. Come on. Veteran is fighting for her life, but too late. Now, I can end the battle, but I do not want to, because I have found the prize. I have found the prize. The Königsberg can now rush in and sink the transports, which is what they were designed to do initially. And this is when those 9-inch guns can cause quite a lot of damage. They can come in quite handy. The 5-inch guns will open fire at about 7-kilometer range, which should be in about 20 seconds or so. There we go. So from the perspective of this transport, they have just potentially seen, I'm not even sure if I've been detected yet, because transports have a notoriously poor vision. They might have seen that the Königsberg took out all of their destroyers. Save for one. But that destroyer headed in the opposite direction, so it was not that likely to come to their aid. And now it's coming for them. Now the Königsberg is out for blood, although they wouldn't be able to identify the ship. It would just be some warship spitting a lot of shells at you. Inaccurately, I should add. So far, I haven't done anything. Oh man. Now, the König Wilhelm is hot on their heels, but it's going to take them a little bit more time to get into range. Because they were tasked with destroying that, what was it? 2 destroyers. Ah, the Prince. 11.1 knots, 14,500 tons. And there's a hit. Just a 5-inch hit. Causing 500 damage, 600 damage, 400 damage. This is what these things were designed to do, and they do it fantastically well. And their speed allows them to very quickly intercept a convoy like this. Of course, it'd be great if I could specify what sort of an encounter my battlecruiser should get, so that they don't accidentally intercept a battleship, as they've been doing for the past couple of episodes. But if I can just set them to tasking intercept transports, then that would be fantastic. There you go. That's one of you down. On to the next. We've got the recruit and the diadem to go. A few bulkheads. That is going to be problematic. Same design? Yeah, 14650. Oof. This is probably going to go up to extensive fire if she doesn't flood first. No, she's going to flood, I think. Oh, you weren't even targeting the recruit. Oh, that's just insulting. The recruit got in the way of line of fire from the Königsberg to the Deaton. So she was more of an accidental kill than anything else. Oh, you poor thing. No, no such thing. There we go. Job done. Oh, please let me finish off this last guy. Come on. I'm gonna kill the Deaton as well. Because I've already sunk 50%. I'm gonna get the last one of them as well. I'm still not sure if that does anything on the grand scheme of things. But in my mind, the more transports I sink, the better it is. 10% buoyancy, structural integrity dropping like a brick. Could you hold for the picture, please? Lovely. Thank you. Ooh, just in time as well. Job done. One of the destroyers is going to live to tell the tale. About the Königsberg and the König Wilhelm. Why? Well, if I can distract the British by having them follow a couple of battlecruisers around, that means that they might force to give up their blockade. Of course, that's wishful thinking. It won't actually happen, but it is nice to think that it would be. Apparently, my destroyers are still extremely valuable for the victory points. Because even though I sunk 5 of theirs and 3 transports, they still get 690 victory points. Right. When it comes to damage received, I've received 16 on one of my battlecruisers on the Königsberg, 71 here, and 2.2k on the V3. So she had it pretty rough. Now, what does that mean for the repair? 1 month and 1 month. 'Twas but a scratch, I'd say, but apparently not. Apparently the damage was a bit worse than expected. Now, despite me continuously sinking some ships, the power projection for the Brits keeps going up. Not down, it's going up. 67,000. This used to be 61,000 and then 63,000. So things are getting worse rather than getting better. When it comes to my own fleet, I have a couple ships coming up. I have the Ostfriesland, the York, the Victoria Louise, and the Admiral Hipper, but they're going to take 5 months to join the fleet. And even then, I kind of doubt how much they're really going to contribute. Because at the moment, a battleship is not really going to make that much of a mark. What will make a mark is if I start sinking their battleships. And potentially their battle cruisers too. I'm not sure if those are valuable for power projection, but I imagine they are. I did not lose a transport, but they did. Very good. Finances are all over the place. 1 month it's minus 500k, next month it's plus 2.2 million. I don't get it. It does mean that I can once again boost my amount of crew training. I'd rather make more use of the ships that I have than eventually get some research done. Building new ships. Oof! Ouch. They've created a new design, the Fox-class light cruiser and the Britannia-class battleship. The Gala, that was the DD that we encountered, has been repaired. They have finished the Fury, and they have finished the Brisk. And their power projection is now 68,000. Holy shit. I'm now minus 21,000, that's fine. What sort of crew training do I have at this point? Cadets? Still? Good lord. How much do I need to spend on this to not have cadets anymore? This shit is insane. Here we go again. The battlecruiser Hessen and the V2 against the heavy cruiser St. George, light cruiser Champion, and 4 transports. Let's get some revenge for our sunken transports. The plan. We're going to use the Hessen here as a bit of a distraction force. I want the V2 to follow. And we're going to charge directly at the cruisers. Get rid of the cruisers. Just reduce their power projection altogether. Use the 9-inch guns to punch a couple of holes in the big guy. Use the torpedoes to punch more holes in the big guy. And then use the 5-inchers to go after the light cruiser. There's the light cruiser. So secondaries on that. You're going to come here. You're not going to torp yet. I'm fairly certain that the light cruiser has some nasty surprises for me in the form of torpedoes. I'm very uninterested in seeing those up close, so let's turn away. There's the St. George. Can we pen that? 15%? What sort of tactical nuke do I need to punch a hole in these heavy cruisers of theirs? Okay, fine. Fine. Yeah, Champion's definitely packing torpedoes. Positions. Port and starboard, dual tubes. Okay, fair enough. I still can't even hit this guy. At 1.9 kilometers, I can't hit this guy. Or did that just bounce off? No, it didn't bounce off. Can you pen me? Oh, yes. Yes, and then some. Okay, we're going to ignore that ship for a bit. Because the light cruiser cannot catch the battlecruiser. They're too slow. Sadly, the heavy cruiser can definitely damage me. And my ship is 16.5 million. As opposed to their heavy cruiser, which is 7 million. Why can I not pen a heavy cruiser with 9-inch guns? What can you pen at 1500 meter range? About 14 inches. 14 and a half, give or take. And that's not enough? Not on the main belt, sure, but forebelt and aft belt should be pretty vulnerable to 9-inch shell fire. We'll just have to wait for the V2 to close in. And do her duty. Hasn't cut off the St. George. This is getting ridiculous. At this rate, I'm going to need a battleship to get rid of a heavy cruiser. Switch to HE and start setting fires. The V2 is no longer fast enough to deal with St. George's speed. And on top of that, they're starting to destroy my torpedo tubes. There we go. 9-inch guns, starting to deal damage. Hard to port. V2 is able to get rid of some of the flooding. The bow torpedo launcher has been destroyed. St. George is still very interested in getting a kill on the V2. As expected, really. We're going to have to turn you hard to port. Launch it now. Because soon you might not be alive. So I'm going to launch in that direction, pretty much directly at my battlecruiser. Aggressive. Go on. Some of the torpedo launchers must still be effective. I guess not. Don't ram. I don't want to ram. Oh, fuck me. Now you launch. That's a little late, sir. Holy shit. Let's just say that was planned. Good grief. Nearly gave the crew of the Hessen a heart attack. Untrained crews, I'm telling you. This is what you get. I'm gonna have to build something akin to these heavy cruisers of theirs. Problem is, I'm constantly under budget or over budget. I'm constantly compensating, but I never really have a month where I can say, ah, okay, now I really have a fairly stable period of, I don't know, 3 months or so that I can actually start planning my budget. I just don't get to that point. Sadly. At any rate, we're going to take down this heavy cruiser, and then we're going to take down its lighter single ship light cruiser. And then go after the transports. I will eventually break the economy of the British. The champion is coming in. There you go, flooding. We're going to switch to the champion for a bit. Because the champion can torp me. Oh, of course they don't. They torped the V2. Dude, it's not your concern. I'm your concern. Me, the Hessen. That is, if she would be able to hit you. That was a close call with that torpedo as well. I can try turning the ship around, but chances... Look at this turning circle! How are you even doing that? That's like a half of the destroyer's size? How are you turning like a submarine? Okay, fine. I'll take it. I'll take it. We're just gonna bounce off at this angle. HE does not. The V2 is down, sadly. It looks like the champion is going to take an interest in the Hessen as her torpedo launchers have reloaded. I don't need any kind of torpedo attention from you. It's still pretty ridiculous that I have to run away from a heavy cruiser with a battlecruiser. I know I didn't design them as such, but it's still concerning. The torpedoes have been launched from the champion. Just can't see them yet, so all I can do is turn as quickly as possible. And hope that the torpedoes are going to sail somewhere like that. Are we just not hitting you? No, we're just not hitting you. Okay. At this point, I have no idea where the transports are at. I know that they're out there somewhere. But I haven't seen them in quite a while. Now, behind the scenes, or rather, as the campaign is progressing, I'm still working on upgrading my shipyards to 29,000 tons. When that is done, I'm hoping to finally get some bigger ships. I'm going to go for a big battlecruiser, potentially. Or something that's capable of dealing with these heavy cruisers of theirs. Because the amount of damage that these things have done, and the amount of work that I've had to put in to try and kill just a few of them is getting ridiculous. Okay, switch back to high explosive, because we are not doing damage. Ricochet chance is high. They're fresh out of torpedo, so I can basically come alongside and cut them into little bits. Which I really thought that the 5-inch guns were sufficient for. These 5-inch guns, at, let's say, 1,000 meter range, is what I'm probably going to be doing, have 8.6 inches of pen. That means I can pen basically everything but the main belt. Right? That's what that should mean. Not if the ship is angled. In that case, it doesn't quite work out. But otherwise, it should be perfectly possible to start damaging this ship. I'm Damage to the main tower. Secondary tower has been destroyed. Destroyed a casemate. Flooding. Now we're getting better. Auto selector. Keep with her. You might take some damage in the meanwhile, but the champion's gonna come off way worse than you are. Did you just miss a 9-inch shell at point-blank range? Like, for crying out loud, you're at 300-meter range. I bet that a musket could hit at this range. There you go. Ammo detonation. Flash fires. At least when the British go, they go in a spectacular fashion. Hess, in the meanwhile, is getting her rudder destroyed. So my turning circle is going to take a little bit more than I was normally accustomed to. So be it. More flooding on the champion. 3 damaged engines. Rudder's out. Fire control's out. Damage control reduced. 28.5% of the crew's dead. More flooding. I need to hit them in the bows, ideally. Somewhere in these compartments and we can flood them out. But hitting with cadets... No. We don't do that here. There you go. Flooding. That's another compartment. St. George, you're next. Give me a minute. I rather doubt that I'm going to be able to find these transports again. So I'm just going to pick off these 2 ships. Reduce the British sea power. And hopefully take, I don't know, 500 points or so off of their power projection. I'm so glad though that I'm finally putting these battlecruisers to good work. Finally, these guys have their use. Okay, burn it. Just flat out burn it down. Although at this arc, this angle is pretty good. Seriously, the lack of damage is embarrassing for the German fleet. The lack of hits with these things. I have an 18% hit score for the moment. There. That was 1.2 kilometers out, 13% chance to hit. This is what happens when you get a minus 9% accuracy debuff. The ships just refuse to be useful. At least I have no shortage of shells. That's good. There. Flooding. 2 compartments. I have managed to get 1 engine back online by some miracle. So they do have some anti-flooding capability, especially when tandemed with their anti-flood 2. Damage to the funnel, more flooding. Although not actually. Come on. There. That's more like it. St. George is desperately trying to deal damage, but so far it hasn't really done that much. Yeah, it's done damage against my destroyer, I think. But it hasn't really done that much to deal with the Battlecruiser. The Battlecruiser's only taken 367 damage total. So most of the shells that she's been firing recently have probably been ricochets. At least her secondary armament. The 9-inch guns? Sure. Those can be deadly. Or at least be cause for concern, but the other armament? 5s and 3s? I think we're about as deadly to each other in that sense. We're not really going to do that much. But it is interesting how their superstructure at 2.7 inches plus 92% is way better than my superstructure. So they almost have, what, that makes it 4.6, 4.5 inches of superstructure. No, 4.3, 4.4, something like that. That is a lot of superstructure armor. Come on, George. You could give me a minute alongside. Be very grateful. Very grateful indeed. Come on. There you go, in George. If you want to take screenshots in your game, Control-Shift-Alt-Z hides the HUD. And then what I do is not click any ship, so you don't have this weird line thing, for example. And you press F11. You can take a screenshot of your beautiful kills. Set them as wallpapers or merchandise or whatever have you. Okay, ricochet angle is still high. It is dropping. St. George is not looking forward to that, so she's starting to turn away. Comes to their secondary tower. Primary tower is probably hard to hit at this angle. Rudder damage, that's good. This is taking a bit more damage than I would like. Fire. I haven't flooded them at all, have I? Structural integrity, 67%. Ricochet angle, still 61 degrees because they're turning so fast. There you are. Flooding to the stern. Structural integrity is dropping. 61%. At this range, they can probably do just about as much damage to me as I can do to them. More flooding. 3 compartments now. I'm starting to take flooding on 1 compartment. I think that they have more bulkheads than I do. Many? Max. Come on, George. You got 3 filled up compartments. Make that a 4th. Essen is definitely going to be an expensive repair. But I'd rather have to repair 1 ship than lose 2. These are fairly pricey. Come on. They were already pumping that 3rd compartment back dry. The bow is completely dry again. Structural then 49%. Secondary tower has been destroyed. That ain't good. When it comes to armament, by the way, I think that the Hessen is not doing that much better than this ship. Well, no, that's not true. Because she has all those 3-inchers. She has the 3-inchers, and the 3-inchers are really not that much of a threat, I think. Well, I say that, but they have a 1,000 meter range, 7.4 inches of pen. That is actually pretty deadly to a battlecruiser that has no superstructure armor. Damage to the main tower. This is going to take a while. It has taken some doing, but the St. George is finally sinking. This means that the Hessen has come out victoriously. So it's going to be a bit of an expensive victory, I'm afraid. Because I did lose the V2, and the Hessen is going to be down for repairs for quite a bit. They did, however, lose the Champion and the St. George. So effectively, when it comes to price, they lost quite a lot of warship. They lost 7 million of heavy cruiser, And another 5.2 million of light cruisers. That's a 12.2. I lost 2.7, so it's not a straight up victory. Even though the game seems to think so. My ship, 2 months. It's not terrible, but cost per month for getting a ship repaired is pretty bad. Fortunately, the Koning Wilhelm and the Königsberg are coming back online. Now, I got these new ships coming out soon. I hope that the York, the Victoria Louise, and the Hipper are able to deal the damage that I need them to do. They're the York-class heavy cruisers. They got the double 10s, as well as 3s, 2s, and torps. Especially the torps are going to be important. But I'm just going to build another another battle cruiser. Just to piss off the battle... No, not the battleships. To piss off the... what you call them? The heavy cruisers. Because those things are starting to get on my nerves. Just the sheer amount of damage that I need to do to kill them. Seven-inch casemates. Where we're going, we don't need a lot of range. Forced boilers. Oh yeah, I might need a funnel. Here. 25 knot speed is enough. Let's get you some better and lighter armor. Some barbette armor, some anti-torp, an auxiliary engine, better shafts. Yeah, we're going to be knife fighting, so this is going to be handy. Citadel, anti-flood. I'm definitely going to need a bigger ship. This is not going to fit. Give me a... Actually, give me an overview. What does a 9-inch gun do? 1,000 meter range? 13.9 inches of armor pen? Holy shit. Okay, that's a lot. That is a lot. So we're going to need about half of that, considering I get the plus 93. So that would be about 7 inches of armor there and 7 there. Deck armor is not going to be as important, I think. Give me 2 inches of superstructure. Maximum displacement. We have some slight weight offset issues, but that can be addressed. I'm thinking that these casemate guns are not going to be as useful as secondary guns. Because they weigh 250 tons. Singular? Holy. One casemate gun weighs 215 tons. A dual-inch 7-inch turret, or dual barrel, weighs 181. Casemates are definitely not the way to go with these things. What if I go for 12 inchers? That ought to be sufficient, right? That ought to be sufficient. We're going to get us some proper battle cruisers. Because we are, in the words of Commander Riker, we're through running from these bastards. We are definitely through. Okay, let's push this thing back. I have a lot of weight offset. 5.8, 4.7. 0.9. Is that tower so extremely heavy? 1,600 tons of tower. Yeah, it's pretty damn heavy. And of course there's a funnel on it, which is not necessarily beneficial. Okay. Since I have most of my firepower concentrated in these turrets, I'm going to give them a bit more turning rate. Definitely more reload. I'm going to push your endurance back even more. Secondaries. If I encounter anything but a heavy cruiser, you know what? I can just put this on the deck. Saves me the turret. Sorry, no, the barbette. If I encounter anything but a heavy cruiser, I'm going to need something to deal with it. So, some form of a secondary. These all have pretty outstanding fields of fire. So I need something that can deal with smaller ships. I'm not going to go with 8-inch, 7-inch or something like that. Probably 4 inches in order to deal with DDs. But DDs are not what these things are supposed to go down. Or to go after. 12 tons for a 4-inch casemate. 12 tons for a dual barrel turret. Can I go with mini barbettes? I hope that will turn. Maybe I need to go with a smaller tower. This is 1600 tons. Should hopefully also make the ship slightly less expensive, because they are coming up to 18 million. And we're probably going to surpass that. Hang on. You're going to move forward. You're going to move forward. You're going to sit here. Oh, and another one there. You're going to slightly go backwards. Here. Oh. Too close. Back. 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 Sit. Here. There we go. This is an interesting way of having your secondary armament provide quite a bit of field of fire. That's the plan. Just have a wide covering field of fire from the 4-inchers. That's the plan. That's going to make it pretty expensive. Radio, no, not really. Better shells, though. Shell damage. At the expense of a flash fire. Let's go for TNT1. Less flash fire chance. And still getting better shell damage. And propellant. Basically everything that says accuracy is something that becomes very interesting. But both ballastite and cordite get me a negative accuracy. So we're just going to go with white powder. Okay, 25 knots for the sightlets. Pretty heavily armored for a battlecruiser. Or at least for my type of battlecruiser. Let's go with a bit more super... Actually, no, a bit more on the guns. I really don't want these guns to get blown off. Let's see, 9... Can I get to 8? Because keep in mind, this is effectively doubled. This is 8-inch armor plus 93%. So we're looking at about 15 and a bit. 15 and change. That's quite a bit of armor. After a bit of tweaking, this is the ship that I have come up with. We've got the A, B, X and Y turrets. So 8 12-inch guns. Backed up by a slew of 4-inch guns. I've foregone the turret there in the middle. And these are, well, they're heavily armored. 9-inch main belt, aft-inch forebelt, 8-inch aft belt as well, 2.7-inch superstructure, 11.5 on the conning tower, 11.5 on the turrets. And let's hope that these guys can do quite a bit of work, because I need something that's going to be more effective against their heavy cruisers. With that, I'm going to end the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon for more.